Oh, I'm fucking in for it now. Oh, man. An episodic horror. Here's the Fathom. Woodbury Getaway. Greetings, Wanderers. Tonight, we'll be playing this scary game. Let me make sure everything's ultra. Eating sounds, toilet sounds. The game was kind enough to inform me that all music was used was copyright free. So no strikes for me tonight. Episodes. Oh. Oh. I've broken the game. Episodes. Okay, let's see. Episodic psychological horror game where each episode reveals a short story narrated by the ones who survived. You are playing episode 5. Episode playtime approximately 2 hours. So there's Home Alone, Norwood Hitchhike, Carson House, Ironbark Lookouts, and Woodbury Getaway. It's what I'm playing right now. New game. We'll see just how scary this game really is. Fears to Fathom, Episode 5. Woodbury Getaway. December 8th. Winter. Needed coffee to get done with the day. Oh. An office. There's people driving outside. Okay. Oh, I'm by myself. Oh. As much as I wanted to leave, I needed a cup of coffee. Why? Sometimes, I don't know if this game is like, there's another indie developer that makes horror games sort of like this, in this style, named Chilla. And Chilla likes to put familiar areas, like one of his games, you are in a boba shop. Was a worker there late at night. In another game, you actually visit the same boba shop. There's another character. Is that someone standing there? A Slender Man? Oh, no, it's just a fucking shelf. Okay. Curious if these games all interlink somehow. No receptionist either. They better be paying me double for my overtime. Fizz. 85 cents? And I wish. Mountain Pew, Red Cola, Energy Bull, Pepsi, Dr. Fizz. I'll take that Dr. Fizz. Oh, I can crouch. Classic taste. It just shits out your soda on the floor. I had to open it first. Oh, of course. Oh yeah, that's good. Fuck that can. Copy paper. Energy guide. Who's your... Oh. Coffee. You need to prepare a cup of coffee. Okay. Oh, I gotta... It really means prepare, okay. What they called Keurig machines? There we go. I gotta put in a little... Look at this shit. Here we go. Oh, look at all the flavors. My coffee is red. Why is my coffee red? Must be the cherry flavor. I needed to put on a lid. Oh, of course. There we go. Chug that shit. Sippy sip. This break room is pitiful. You got lockers and shit. Microwave, juice, instant coffee. No snacks? I was done with it. Yeah, fuck this place. Someone else can clean it. There's just a window here? Dude, here we go. The chiller. What the hell is that? Sticks of butter? Freeze your butter. Always freeze your butter. Best milk. Some cold Coke. Some cat food. And a jar of some white substance. I have no idea. I need to use the restroom. Oh. Bathroom time. I heard some clicking. Alright. Bathroom etiquette. People don't know how to wash their hands anymore. I can't go in. Am I playing as a woman? Is the main character a woman? Let's see. Ah, there we go. Oh, the janitor must be in here. But miserable reflections. Mr. Janitor. Letting you know I need to tinkle. I need to tinkle real bad. Oh, there's a gauge for that's my piss gauge. Oh yeah. Too much coffee. Not enough pay. Press space to get up. I will. There we go. Whoa. Obama? Oh, man. Sorry. I had no idea what was in here. Almost gave me a heart attack. Brick. I'm so sorry. Should have knocked before I came in there. But there isn't usually anyone in there this late. Oh, jeez. I didn't scream. You should have knocked. Again, I'm sorry. I usually do knock, but I'm a little bit frustrated tonight. Must have slipped my mind. Why is you frustrated? Someone keeps throwing coffee cups on the floor all over the office. It's been happening for weeks. Oh, oops. That's really rude. Well, I need to get back to it. Don't want to be here all night picking up coffee cups. Have a good night, sir. You old prick. I mean, he is the janitor. It's creeping in the girly bathroom. Hey, someone left some fizzy on this toilet. Was this yours? Drink this. Oh, that's good. Yeah, do your job. You need to stop that now. Oops. It's baby water. Sorry, sir. I didn't think you cared that much. Pee-pee water. How do I can leave now, right? Here. Exit. I guess not that way. I meet a lot of late night workers, but you're one of the most dedicated ones here. Thank you. Well, they paid me more for my time. I already threw this on the ground, so if I throw it again, it doesn't count. Supply room. Nothing, I guess. The phone? Phone's ringing. Aha. Here we are. Go for Sydney Harper.
Hey, Harp, it's Mike.
Hey, Mike.
I've been trying to call your cell for the last 2 hours. It just keeps going to voicemail. Is everything alright?
Yeah, my phone's been acting up lately.
Oh, snap. I was starting to think
Sydney.
maybe you were ignoring me.
Is that a screen reference? Hello, Sydney. Awkward laugh. It even cut out on a client right here.
I'm just kidding.
Mike, you need to lower
Anyway,
shirt, you sick man.
what are you still doing at work? It's getting kind of late.
What are you doing at work? Oh, you know, just fucking around. More overtime.
Damn, Harp, that sounds rough. Good thing I called to cheer you up.
Oh, Jesus. He's one of those guys, isn't he?
About our trip, did you get a chance to book the rental house? Just really wanted to see you. And Nora.
Nora. I was gonna do it after work.
No worries, Harper. I don't want to stress you out. As long as you book it tonight, I think it'll be fine.
Think it'll be fine.
Hey. I was thinking, since we both live in the city, maybe I could pick you up and ride together.
Like,
Nice to catch up.
Yeah, this guy is... He already comes off as a fucking creep. Needs to catch up.
You know, save on gas and relive the good old days. Just a little bit of Mike and Sydney time before Nora gets there.
Oh, I see where this is going. Okay. Sure.
Great. I guess I'll let you get back to work then.
Please do.
Oh,
Please
wait,
do.
one more thing.
Oh, no.
When you book the rental, please make sure to keep it under $100 a night.
Under 100. Okay.
Nora and I were talking, and she's been on a pretty tight budget. Things haven't been going very well for her.
Hang up. I should just hang up on him. I'll find something affordable.
It'll be just like the old college days. You always had a knack for finding the best spots.
Yeah. I should really make the booking now.
Right, of course. Sorry for yapping. I'm just excited, I guess.
Excited.
Alright, talk to you later, Harp.
Harp. Mike Huel. Ew. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, at least we use Excel. I don't really want to read through all this, so let's just close that. Yeah, there we go. Type Invader. Oh, dude, video games. Yeah, fuck that shit. Oh shit, ready. Farm. Just dress. Oh yeah, we gaming now. Mouth. No aliens. Quick, short, fit, natural, baby reason. 98%, what the fuck? Oh shit, pose, total. Speech. Masked person. Excite. Track. The loaf is here. Help me, loaf. Horse. Fit. Age. Shout. Door. Station. Light. Look at this new Nightwing gameplay, man. Oh shit, cooler once. Forest case multiply. Blue lot. Oh, he almost killed me. Not even close, baby. Check this out. Check out this gameplay. No, that's it. An easy game. It's pretty much a baby game, really. Made for babies. Oh shit, I'm just clicking on shit. No, that's the other shit. Error. What is wrong with this computer? Everything's broken. There we go. Rentals. Rent-a-car? What? No, rentals. Oh, I don't actually... Okay. I just type whatever. Rentacabin.com. I'm feeling unlucky. But that doesn't do anything. Search internet. Beat the final boss. Fuck yeah. Find your place to stay. Where are you going? Oh, Woodbury. $350 a night. Peaceful cabin. Private room in nature. 2 stars? Private room in nature. This is a fucking shed. Look at this shit. $249 a night? What the fuck? I was gonna say something obscene, but I'm $199 a night. Okay, we're getting there. Cozy Lodge. Private cabin. $99. There it is. Another one. Entire guest house. $259. No. Open villa. Large garage. $199. Nope. There we go. We want this one. Because Nora has got some financial problems. 3.1 stars? It's kind of sus. For an Airbnb. We want like 4 stars minimum, but I guess we are paying $100 a night for 3 of us. Nice. Hey, I'm assuming you get hundreds, if not thousands, of stories sent daily. So I'll give you a basic rundown of something that happened to me. I'm sorry if some of it is written weird, but I was rushed. When I was in my early 20s, I worked at a big consulting firm in my city. Life at the firm was a constant juggle of deadlines, client meetings, and trying to prove my worth, which didn't leave much room for leisure, let alone social life. My job paid well, sure, but at the expense of my mental peace. I'm Sydney Harper, and this story takes place during one of those days. One of my college friends, Mike, suggested that we take a weekend getaway to rural Vermont, which sounded like a perfect break from the cycle of work. And my other friend, Nora, was quick to jump on board as well. The plan was simple. We rent a small cabin, close our shift early on Friday, leave, and be back on Monday, a weekend getaway. Mike came to pick me up. Sydney Harper, 2 days later. Hello, Sydney. What's your favorite scary movie? Dude, is that the new Switch 2? Afternoon. Quite chilly today. Nod. I've seen you around, but I haven't had a chance to introduce myself. I'm Gail. I'm Sydney. It's nice to meet you. You're on the 10th floor, right? I'm on 8th. That's right. I thought so. I've seen you a few times getting off at the 10th floor when I'm home late from work. What do you do for work? Me? I'm a software engineer. What about you? Work at a consulting firm downtown. Oh, I see. Anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I need to get some groceries before the snow starts. Yeah, you too. What games you got on your Switch? How do I... I just said him hang up. Pulling into the... Oh, here we are. Rent a cabin. Rick Wilson. Those for 2 months. Hi, Sydney. Thanks for booking my property in Woodbury for December 10th to 12th. I'm Rick, your host. Let me know if you have any questions and feel free to contact me for anything during your day. Looking forward to hosting you. Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Rick. We're looking forward to it. Just confirming the check-in time is 3 p.m., right? Yes, that's correct. The key will be in the lockbox by the front. The code is 5176. Call me if you have any trouble getting it open. Have a safe trip. Great, thank you. Michael J. Carter. Oh, we got lots of history. Here we go. Yo, Harp, how you been? Mike. I'm literally so tired. I was just about to turn in for the night. What about you? Not much. Just keep things afloat, my friend. How's the work at the new firm? Pretty much the same as the old job, just quitting my life away, but the pay is better. Anyway, I've been thinking about our chat from earlier today. Oh, Mike, like I really don't know. Anyway, getting away sounds fun, but it'll be so much work to get packed and leave for the weekend. All I'm gonna do is think about all the work as you're getting done at the office. Listen to yourself, Harp. We're talking about taking a nice, relaxing weekend getaway, and all you are focusing on is how to make relaxing. I haven't had a real break in ages, Mike. I'm not even sure how I remember to relax anymore. I work all day, and when I get home, all I think about is the work I didn't get finished. It's hard to just unplug, you know? And that's exactly why you should come. Think of it this way, Sydney Harper. On a first and last name basis, huh? Think of it this way, Sydney Harper. You're like a battery, full of power and productivity. But what happens when you run the battery too long? It loses its charge. We gotta put you back on the charger, Harp. You go back to work after the weekend with even more energy than ever. 20% more productivity, I bet. Come on. Who knows? Maybe you'll thank me later The Lenny face. Plus, Nora is really excited about it. It really shouldn't be the same without you. Sorry, passed out last night. Damn it, fine. I'll check in with HR, let you know. Take your time, Harp. But just know that whatever you decide, we're here for you. Smiley face, heart emoji. Yo, Harp, your cell keeps going straight to voicemail. Everything okay? Call me back. I'm getting a little bit worried. Just booked. You ever answer the phone anymore? Call me, please. What is wrong with this guy? I'm off work now. Okay, heading that way. Pulling into the parking garage now. You downstairs yet? Let me grab my luggage. Is this him? Harp. Hug. That's still how you hug people? Why don't you hug me like you missed me? What is wrong with this guy? There's some... I don't like this guy at all. Just a test so I can see if you smelled first. Brick. Fair enough, but for the record, I showered just for the occasion. Nothing is too good for Sydney Harper. They really want me to long hug him, huh? Chuckle, long hug. You look good. Ew. Thanks for picking me up. Wouldn't have it any other way. It'd be nice to have company on the way. This old truck brings back so many memories. Right? This bad boy's been through a lot. You can just throw your stuff in the back and we'll get on our way. Okay. Oh. What's that? There we go. Alright then, Harp. Are you ready to hit the road? Where's Nora? She'll meet us there. Oh, good. The route through the city would have been a detour for her anyway. Alright then, Harp. Alright. "4:26 p.m. This guy gonna fucking stab me? Oh, it's 4:26. It's already dark out. It's starting to snow. Eyes on the road, dick. Harp, isn't it weird? We used to dream about escaping our college, and now here we are. Trying to escape from the life we wanted to live. We couldn't wait to get onto the real world. Maybe we just didn't know how much the real world would, you know. This sucks sometimes. Change is just hard, like trying to adjust to a new job. Speaking of jobs, how's it going so far? We're working on this project that uses machine learning to predict market trends. It's pretty cutting-edge stuff. Sounds like you're shaping the future. Not quite Tony Stark yet, but I'll take it. You know, I've never understood. What do consultants even do? I'm not sure. We consult. Explain. Here we go. That sounds like... Oh, text from Rick Wilson. Important work. Yeah. It's nearly 5 p.m. and I haven't received the confirmation. What the fuck, man? I was reading that. Harp, do you ever miss college? Only the cafeteria food. No. Bus. Did you see that school bus? See what? The school bus back there by the old house. Maybe it's a project. You know, someone's idea of turning it into a tiny home on wheels or something. I read people do that on the internet. Okay, can I now look at this text? I just want to check and make sure everything is okay. The roads near Woodbury can be a little dangerous if you're not from the area. Please let me know when you arrive. Thanks. We're on our way and should be there around 6 p.m. The snow slowed us down quite a bit. Thanks for checking in. Okay, please confirm when you check in and travel safe. Ah! Deer. Fucking deers. That was close. You know, I read on the internet that in Native American lore, seeing a deer cross your path is like getting a message from the universe. I'm sure you did, Mike. I'm certain you did. I can't text like normal. Oh, do I have like no signal? How far is it now? Should be about an hour and a half from here. Okay. You know, driving through the snow kind of feels like we're traveling through the intergalactic space. What do you mean? Look at the way the snowflakes swirl around the headlights. It's like stars and galaxies rushing past us. What is this guy going on about? I don't know what he means. It looks like snow to me. It's kind of beautiful. No, it isn't. No more talking, Mike. No more talking for the rest of the trip. (5:14 p.m.) Oh, dude, here we go. The town. Dairy Mart. Yo, Harp, check that out. Check what out. Dairy Mart? Moe's Pizza. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Pizza time. How do I... Oh. You know, Harp, I gotta tell you, these new GPS systems are something else. This pizzeria is exactly where it appeared on my GPS. It's like living in the future. I'm so hungry I think I could eat a whole pizza myself. Me too. Alright then, Harp. Operation Pizza Pit Stop is a go. Prepare to land. I don't like this guy. Fuck this pizza place. Can I actually... Oh, it's with the invisible wall. Okay. Oh no! Slow down! What are you waiting for? Oh, it killed me. Oh, he missed. I like how the cops didn't even nail me for jaywalking. Oh, there's a church here. Bank of Fortune. Cheese, veggie, salami, most special, mushroom, barbecue chicken, calzone. Come on in, Harp. Oh, thank you for holding the door open for me.
This just in. Reports of a strong snowstorm coming towards Woodbury tonight. Residents are recommended to stay indoors and keep warm during this time. Let's check in with our field reporter. How's the weather out there, Phil?
Oh, it's so cold out here, I can't feel my hands, okay? Like, the studio should have really brought some snow gear instead of buying that new coffee machine.
I'm sure you'll be fine. You can have some coffee when you get back to the studio.
Jerry, you cannot be serious. You know my doctor said not to drink any caffeine.
Sounds like someone's having a bad day. Maybe you should cool off.
You little shit. Why can't you go out here and deal with the snow instead of me? I've been working here for 6 years and I never get to report somewhere nice.
Listen, Phil, I'm just clearly the better looking one. You can worry about where you'll report once you get that rhinoplasty.
Rhinoplasty?
Damn.
Why would I need rhinoplasty? My face looks perfectly fine.
You could also use some Botox while you're at it. Actually, maybe you should just work as a studio light engineer behind the camera.
Damn, they are going at it.
I think it would be better field of work for you.
You only got your job because your sister works at the mixing board. You would have never been able to work here if it wasn't for her. I'd like to see you work the ENG sometime.
How dare you? I'm a certified news anchor.
Ooh, certified? Yeah, my ass, okay? You didn't do shit. How about I come by the studio and we settle this like men?
Oh, yeah? Well, let's do it, punk.
Careful, he'll sit on you.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Have you seen Poop Killer? No,
Are you exhausted and desperately need a break?
No,
Is your 9 to 5 stressing you out?
Yeah.
Take a vacation with rentacabin.com.
I did.
We offer thousands of cabins readily available and accessible with the click of a button.
Yeah.
Enjoy amazing views and undisturbed relaxation in our refurbished cabins.
Yeah.
Now, not only are these cabins cheap, but they're also safe, with each cabin having a designated caretaker to ensure that your stay is top-notch. We have many options to choose from, including pet-friendly, alcohol-friendly, family-sized, underground, and many more.
That's kind of weird.
So if you need a vacation and want it cheap, visit rentacabin.com and enjoy the stay of a lifetime.
I'm glad I did.
You can beat me, but you can never beat the taste of UFO burgers.
UFO
Put an end to meals from cheap
that's
food
brain
stalls.
rot.
A secret recipe that has been passed down for 6,000 years.
Some
Traveled from the
cheeps,
Burr 02
some
galaxy
fizz.
to the Gur 04 galaxy. Our journey begins with the best beef sourced in the most unconventional way. In what way?
Do you have any recommendations? Get the cheese. Just the cheese. Alright, I will do that. Well, cheese is one of the cheaper ones other than the margarita. Alright, all cheese. Evening, folks. Looks like the cold's got everyone craving pizza today. Yeah. Oh, there we go. You fine folks know what you want to eat. We'll get 3 slices of each. We'll go with pepperoni, cheese, and veggie. I'll get cheese, cheese, and the cheese. Any drinks to you folks? That should cover us. Just the pizza today, thanks. Alright then, 6 hot slices coming right up. The one is just randomly $26. Exactly. $22.50. Yep. Nah, this isn't a real pizza place. He didn't call me boss. Your order number is 27. Just grab a seat and we'll call you up when the pizza's ready, boss. They always call you boss. And real friendly, too. Where's my pizza? Long sniff. Nah. It smells so good in here. Long sniff. Yeah. We'll be sniffing. Boo-hoo. Friends 3 ever. Oh, she has a voice message.
Oh, you guys are going to hate me. I swear I'll get on the road as soon as I can, but something last minute popped up. I'm not going to bore you with all of the details. The long and short of it is one of my clients needs a last minute change. Their payments are about the only thing keeping the lights on. I hate to leave so late, but I gotta keep them happy. I'll have this logo done before you know it and be on my way.
Like, I'm so sorry, you guys. Nora, frowny face, frowny face, frowny face. Please be careful. I hate that you're leaving so late. Drive slow and don't worry. I'll make sure Harp stays up to let you in. Or Nora. Did you listen to Nora's voice message in the group? Yeah, I just saw. Looks like she'll be late. That's a bummer. Guess we'll have to start the fun without her. What can we do? Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. This guy's gonna fucking stab me, isn't he? He's the killer. It was him. Order 27. You folks are right here. Right. Some pizza. Moe's Pizza. Alright, you folks are all set. Thank you. Can I sit down? There we go. Oh, hell yeah. Just the cheese. Oh, damn. This pizza slaps. Can't believe Nora is missing out on this bomb-ass pizza. I know, right? I don't like eating alone with this guy. His weird hugs comments, his weird you look good comments to his weird fucking... Damn, Harvey, you actually eat the crust? It's kind of wasteful not to, don't you think? I guess, but you wouldn't really eat the peel of an orange, would you? What? Okay. That doesn't equate. That doesn't equate at all. Wait, he doesn't like the crust? I'll never understand people who don't like the crust of pizza. Hey there, my friends. Hello there. I saw y'all pull in driving a nice old truck. Are you just watching it pulls into? That's right. Not to be a bother or anything, but I was heading down the road myself. Seems like we might have been going the same direction. Y'all mind if I hitch a ride with you? Where are you headed? Just heading where the road takes me. I'm a bit of an adventurer, just hiking the trails and seeing the country. What do y'all say? Here to give this free spirit a ride down that snowy road? Wasn't like a pickup truck with like 2 seats? I'm not sure, I'm sorry. Sure, you can find just a little bit of room for me. I can ride in the middle. Hell, I'll ride in the bed. It's my friend's car, I'm sorry. You gotta be shitting me, lady. No space? I know there's a middle seat. You scared of me or something? I'm sorry. You ain't too kind, are you? Unkind people beat unkindness themselves. You best be careful out there. Are you threatening us? No, y'all got me all wrong. Sorry, I'm just cold and tired is all. Yeah. Man, I'm just surrounded by fucking creepy dudes. Oh, that was weird. He didn't even order anything. Yeah. Creep. He's actually leaving, okay. He's the killer. They're both gonna stab me. Pounding down this pizza. Delicious cheese pizza. The pizza was perfect fuel for the last leg of our trip. Press the right mouse button to burp. Goodness. Goodness, lady. He just looks. He's like that. That's fucking gross, man. Oh, text. Heart emoji, XD, heart emoji. There we go. Holy, that was good. Alright then, are you ready to hit the road? Maybe we can beat the worst of the snow. Are we close? Let's see, if my GPS is right, it should be about another hour. Give me the keys. Harp, the weather is awful. Why don't you drive part of the way home? Take a break while I drive, Michael. I'm afraid what kind of break you're gonna give me, Harp. You'll be afraid if you don't give me the keys. Why, but there's one condition. What is it? I get first choice of bedrooms when, or if, we get there. Deal. Give me those keys. Give me the keys, motherfucker. Alright. Get over that creepy hitchhiker who smashes my window. Oh, yes. "5:49 p.m.
Good evening, Vermont. This is your host on WKWB, your hometown station, bringing you the best tunes to warm your hearts on this chilly night. As we embrace the first snowfall of the season,
I hate driving with a keyboard.
Nothing like a perfect song to set the mood. So here's a track
because when you turn, you
right
like
at home.
full on.
Coming up next, Be Sincere by Ned and Ultimus. Stay warm and stay tuned.
It's the cops. Watch out. Oh, he actually flashes light. Oops.
I don't want to talk about what's on the right. Picture me up on the mic, spitting what I like.
Oh, yeah, listen to that.
Reminiscing on friends I'm missing. Maybe I can find them if they're still in my distance. Like, I don't
oh, shit, where am I going?
Come on, man, be sincere. We're gonna be here
Woodbury is right.
so let's
Okay.
appear all night, man. Don't fight, man. I'm trying to make something from nothing and get some memories, cause there is plenty of me lurking in the streets. But you're certain that your purpose is surplus to what's in me. Like, you cannot pick up the phone, you cannot even write back. Isn't this all we're living for? Isn't that sad? But if it's still ahead, I don't wanna recollect it. The current moment, cause alone is feeling the direction. So hit me back and I'll send you some love. Don't intercept on me, cause I just wanna be your one. Like real, check me out, I'm the man of the minute. And feeling different from some instances that fuck me up. I wanna be the one that saves you, but I don't really blame you. If you wanna be known, then I won't control you.
Some kind of blue collar area. Gas station. Jesus sets free. Shackled by lust, Jesus sets free. that sounds like a... Hold on. I'm reading the fucking sign. Jacket,
I keep a ride on my side.
Oh, here we
like
go.
the words out of mouth seems to lighten my life. I'm connected to a heart like the moon and the tides. And besides, no one can take her up and out of my life. I think the words come
Woodbury.
together well, and that's no coincidence. Trying to be the best that I could be without no wishing it. Feeling like a plane trying to soar in the sky. But without you feel so hesitant, I can't lie. I'm trying to be a millionaire before I'm 25. Maybe I'm like halfway. Maybe I can make it there. I ain't trying to slow down cause I'm trying to retire my mama and my old man. I don't worry about all the drama, yeah. Yeah, I keep it cool, I keep a mystery. Hearing lies, man, that ain't all there is to me. I'm trying to fill your heart, but writing on this shitty screen. And I promise you will be about this strife. But my life in the heart, so I focus when I type. Trying to get a good song, but can't get it if I try. So I sit up in my room, right, reflecting on my life. I don't know where I'm going, but I hope I get it right.
Yeah, this should be it. Okay, it is. I thought you were just gonna keep driving there. I was. That's might be so proper. Alright. It was a very cold night. It was a quaint little house in a quiet neighborhood. For some reason I expected it to be in like the middle of nowhere, but no, there's other houses here. Got plenty of neighbors. Neighbors to run screaming to. Oh, that's right. 5176. Okay. Slide door. 5176. There we go. The keys. The keys. What a great place. I knew he could count on you. It smells so nice in here. Right? But I really need to hit the jaw and take your time, Mike. While I'm gone, can you put these groceries away? Should be enough space in the fridge. Sure. Let me, what I always do is I just throw this shit on the ground right here. Deal with it later. Mr. Jack the Demon, me to you. Hello there, hope you do. I hope you're having a lovely night. Oh, I am, thank you. Thank you so much. Welcome to the stream. I'm having a lovely time in, Vermont, I suppose. In this nice, cozy, oh shit. Cozy, come on. There we go. Cozy getaway. Some here. Water. There we go. I'm gonna put this away. The best milk. Some, what is this? Peppers. Tomatoes. Some peppers. Some more best milk. Some Peak Farms bell peppers. A lot of peppers. Thank you for the welcome. I like that, what do you call it? That emote. Are you enjoying the game so far? I'm enjoying it pretty well. I'm definitely not scared. I don't get scared. I might make some loud noises, some shrieks. Looks like a little girl, but I wore my brown pants tonight, so I'm prepared. Oh, close this first. Okay. Let's just throw that shit there. Yeah, that's fine. Alright. Groceries put away. Now we're just waiting for Mr. Mike to finish in his... There he is. Bathroom. Sorry about that, Harp. Are you okay? Long drive and all the pizza really did a number on me. All the groceries are put away. Thanks for handling that, Harp. Anyway, this place looks pretty crazy nice. It's got that rustic charm you just don't see anymore. Nice guy from the city. You got really need to pee. Yeah, it's cute. For sure. I really need to pee. I'll be back. You can go ahead. We'll start unpacking our bags. Thanks. Yeah, it's good so far. I'm actually interested in the other games now. I've heard of this series, but I never actually Later, where's the bathroom? Oh, he just came out of a bathroom, right? Oh, here we go. The smell alone told me pizza had already done a number on Mike. Oh, God. Someone light a match. Escape the text Rick. Here we are. Hi, we've checked in. Well, I guess I'll just wait for his thing to come back. Kind of weird that the shower curtain's in the middle. There we go. Finished up in there. Let's see the couch. Let's see this. Oh, I can look through the window. I see. These games are quite fun indeed. So I've heard. I was implored to try this out. This one specifically, the Woodbury. I saw there's 4 other ones, so I'll have to look into those too. It's tense music, man, in my nice weekend getaway. I hate to admit it, but I didn't wash hands after peeing. Oops. I'm a filthy person. You feeling better after the drive? Much better now. I'm good. Want to check out the house? Sounds good to me. Let's see what this place has to offer. After you. Alright. I wash my hands first. Good hygiene. Alright. There's a fireplace. Oh, this is actually really nice. The living room is bigger than my apartment. Yeah, it really do be like that, don't it? Don't it, Mike? Nice TV, okay. Oh, damn. Got ourselves a record player. Dirty in the corners, some nice couches. Ah. Dude, is this a gaming room? Damn. Oh, they got a Ouija board in here? Oh, I know what I'm playing later. And this guy's got like Atari or whatever this shit is. Okay, let me through. Let me through, Mike. Mike, let me out. I don't want to be in the closet anymore. Come on, let me out. I'm actually stuck. Mike, you need to let me out, man. Oh, no. No. Let me out. I want out. Oh, man. Let's play Ouija board. Come on. Mike, let me out of the fucking closet, man. Oh, no. Is there... Can I reload? Catopoly? Dude. They got like Cat Monopoly? I'm pretty sure. Were you stuck? Yeah, I think I'm actually... The Snakes and Ladders. Nope. The Star Titan Force. Nope. Oh, and now my game is a... Oh no. Let me out. Let me out. Please. I'm gonna climb out. You need to let me out, buddy. Dragon's Labyrinth? Oh, that sounds cool. But I need to get out. Let's build a little pile here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, no. Oh. Oh, there he goes. Oh, I broke the game. My hands are full. Okay. All right. Okay. Just a little clipping through the wall there. What else is down here? Oh, basement. Here we go. Oh, yeah. No access to guests. We'll see about that. A totally normal basement. This place totally reminds me of your college dorm. Are you sure? I don't smell the long beach cush here. I wonder what this guy doesn't want us to see. Yeah, I want to know too. I couldn't open the door. Alright. Tools. fragile. Keep dry. More tools. No Necronomicons down here, eh? Do not read the forbidden book in the basement. Ooh, hiding spot. Water tank, water heater. Nothing really of interest down here, it looks like. Alright, back upstairs. Fuck this basement. I already checked out the kitchen, so... Oh, teddy bear! This must be Rick. Oh. Nice photos and pictures. Oh, yeah. Good taste, Rick. Oh, I'm not getting stuck in this shit again. Hell no. Laundry room. Got it. Who's this? You scared us. Oopsie daisy, I didn't mean to. Well, welcome to my home sweet home. What a lovely young couple. No, we're not a couple. We're just friends. Sorry, Mike, about the friend zone your ass. Creep. Oopsie daisy, silly me. We didn't expect anyone to be here. Oh, I was out looking for my cat earlier, and I remember the TV has been on the fritz here. Just thought I'd stop by and try to get it working again, since the last few folks left a bad word for it. You know, they say treat your guests like family. My family doesn't go without TV. Speaking of that, now that you folks are here, let me show you around my sweet home. Right now? I'd be a bad owner if I didn't give you the grand tour. Alright, old man. Mr. Rick. Host was a middle-aged man with a nervous energy. Oh, this is rustic as fuck. Oh, I like this room. Bathroom? Here's your shower. That thing will make you feel like you're bathing under a waterfall in the Amazon jungle. Oh, this thing doesn't work, unfortunately. Not to worry, I'll get it fixed for you real soon. Rub his face to make him think you're a killer. Yeah. Let me show you the other bedroom now. Right there. I don't want to get too deep in these rooms, otherwise Mike here is gonna... Oh, he's following the old man. Mike here is gonna get me stuck in. Look, Harp, this room has a nice-ass view. You think that's nice, mister? Wait till I show you the deck. Follow me now, please. Sure thing, old man. It is a nice room. I dig it. I can sleep here. Are you coming, man? Yeah, I'm coming. Fuck. Shit, let me explore a bit. I'm gonna take my time. Oh, this is the laundry room. Okay. Oh, this is a nice deck. Nice deck. Holy smokes, this is incredible. Definitely. Glad you folks like it. This is one of my favorite spots. The view of the creek is beautiful. It's a great spot for fishing, too. Alright, folks, let's head back in before I catch the cold here again. This is a nice view. Yeah, I'm fucking coming, man. Jeez. Oh, he's rushing me. Here's the storage room. If you need anything, tools, extra blankets, whatnot, it's all in here. If the power ever goes out, you can use this flashlight right here on my right. Times like these, you never know. Thanks, mister. Alright, folks, let's head downstairs now. Flashlight here. There is. I'll just leave it there. If the old man yells at me, you do it, Mike. Don't look at me like that. Surrounded by creeps. Alrighty, folks. I see I already stocked up the fridge of some tasty food. You see the knob? Turn the knob up for more cooling and down to cool it off. I tend to keep it low in the winter. The bill gets out of control. Speaking of winter, I've better show you folks where the water heater. Oh, we already found it. It's downstairs. But I guess he wants to show me. Better follow him. This door is very inconvenient. Yeah, I'm fucking coming. Just want to look out the window. Nothing to worry about down here, just the water heater and some old storage stuff. If it ever stops working, just hit the button at the bottom. The pilot light will fire right up and you'll be back in business. This guy's freaking me out. Him and the mic here. Push him down the stairs and just saying we monsters. I mean, both these guys are creeping me the fuck out, so. Hey, sir, what's the deal with that room over there? Nothing you two need to concern yourselves with. I kind of use this basement as storage. Renters don't need the space, they really ought to keep upstairs. Okay, well, I was just curious. No comment. Let's move on. Push one on the stairs, push the other down the stairs. You just gonna stand there? I'm gonna push you down the fuck. Oh. Did I mention? Well, no, maybe I had to keep it to myself. The fella I bought this house from, well, told me his mother died down here. Some guests reported hearing voices at night. Said they could hear something shuffling around down here. Not to scare you folks, but if I were one of you, I wouldn't really step down here. Awkward silence. The looks on your faces. Come on now, I'm just joking. At this point, my creep meter is quietly pinging at around 6 out of 10. Yeah, Sydney knows. Okay, I literally took the time to just close your fucking door for you. Trying to rush me along. Alrighty, folks. Snow's starting to pick up. I'm gonna hit the road now. I'm gonna find that damn cat. Thanks for showing us around. Creep. By the way, what was the name on the booking? I must be getting old. It's Sydney. Sydney, that's right. Pretty name for a pretty girl. Okay. Comments to yourself, mister. Is it just me or is that dude super weird? Hey, you're one to talk. Anyway, let's go see if there's anything good on TV. Actually, I'm gonna go take a quick shower. Cool. I'll find something to watch while you're in there. Chuckle. Let me know if it feels like you're under a waterfall. Well, he did say that, didn't he? What a weird guy. See you in a bit. I guess in here, right? I didn't see a bathroom upstairs. I was keen on taking shower upstairs. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Not with fucking creepy old man and creepy ass Mike. Is there a shower here? No, it's in the next room, right? Let's close all the doors. No one can peek. There we go. Shower time. There we go. Now featuring my rubber ducky. All clean. Yeah, that's right. The tap didn't work. Alright. Singer Invader from space reveals truth about nut allergies. Bites tiger attacking police. Tigers these days, man. Yeah, I didn't actually get a good look in his room. The fuck? Is it a leaf? What was it? Dust? This is a nice room. What the fuck? This game has a voice meter? What the hell? It's tracking me. Oh, is this for like when I'm hiding? They can hear me scream and breathe. Oh, but if I won't be able to comment. I won't be able to talk when I'm hiding. We don't mind if I keep company with friendly demons, so no worries. Oh no, of course. Mr. Jack. Please, make yourself comfortable while I go through this scary game. You're more than welcome to stay. Couldn't reach you without the step stool. Oh, I heard that. Oh. I appreciate the follow, too. Welcome. Welcome to the party, Mr. Jack. The demon. I'm afraid... You have, I'm afraid I don't consort with many demons. But you'll pardon me if I don't know how to, speak to you. Luckily, there's a Ouija board in this cabin. Oh, I have to left-click the place, I see. I want to see what's up there. You like my vibe? Oh, that's nice. How sweet. Attic. Oh, there's light. Oh, there we go. I didn't do mouse. My shit's starting to double-click. Going outside. Old bed up here. Looks like someone used to live up here and just storage now. There's a mattress. I hope someone's not living up here. This is another hiding spot. Well, at least it's not recording me. Okay, so let me I guess there's not much up here, so back downstairs. All right. Be kind and close these doors and return to Mike downstairs. That almost got me. That almost got me. Check this out. I found this fishing rod in that shed. I need to catch dinner. Now that you've mentioned, that would be a pretty epic addition to the trip. It's fucking like freezing out there. You want to fish? Come on, Harp. What would make this trip more epic than catching our own freaking dinner? I guess it could be fun. Hell yeah. Follow me. There's another rod in the shed, so we can both give it a shot. Oh, good. Fishing. I don't mind fishing minigames. There is one. Or is it gonna fade to black? Oh, we got an artist here. I'm trying to explore, Mike. Fuck. I'm trying to look at shit. Between him and the old man, he's pushing me around. You want to grab the other fishing rod, Herb? Yeah, give me a second. Bait and fish pairing knowledge. Maggot bait. Cheese. Fish with cheese. I'm not big on fishing, so I don't. Frozen prawns. Sweet corn. Painting stuff. Chances of fishing. Oh, I'm sorry. Chances of catching. Walleye. Okay, so maggots. Brook trout. Yellow perch. Bluegill. Oh, perch. Fried perch is always fucking good. Crankbait. Cheese delight. Common carp. Chub. Goldfish. I don't know I'll be swimming in this creek, but let's go with the maggots. Where do I get to pick? Oh snap, I saw a killer recipe for baked carp. We'll need to catch 3 carp though. You up for the challenge? Yes. First things first, we need the right bait for carp. Check out this bait information board. Your boyfriend is very odd, he just watches you non-stop. First off, Mike is not my boyfriend. We're just friends. I friend-zoned his ass. I made sure to. Second off, he does just stare a lot. That must look good. Whenever you're ready, grab the carp bait and let's head to the creek. Ready to catch some carp, Harp. Please don't make rhymes with my name. Please. Oh, I didn't even look. You what's carp? I guess it's cheese then. Hold on, man. Fuck. There we go. Cheese. Oh shit, actually this is really nice. Put on the hook. There we go. There's some cheese. You got some gasoline, I guess. Put those carpet biting today. Alright. Blah, left mouse button to cast. Okay. Jeez. Okay. Okay, this is simple. There we go. Yeah. Oh yeah, goldfish. A goldfish. I don't think we want to eat that. More baits. Well, he got stuck in a closet with him. He didn't watch it. Yeah, it's true. I mean, he was creeping me out even before. Those weird comments. His need to hug, I guess, for a long time. Oh, shit, here we go. Here we go. A common carp. They say whenever there's one carp, there's always more. Nobody says that. Nobody has ever said that in the history of ever. But this is coming. Lawn carp. Someone's on the... There's someone on the bridge. Was that the hitchhiker? He had a big ass backpack. Carp. There he is. I thought I saw him. You can't hide from me, stalker. My perception. Perception skill's too high. I want this carp. Oh shit, okay. Yeah, here we go. Bluegill, no. I'm getting all this crabfish, and I want the carp. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Here we go. If only fishing were actually this easy. And the squid. These fish must be starved if they're biting this fast. It'll take forever to get 3 carp. It's not like this guy's bringing in anything, is he? Nah, he's not getting shit. Almond carp. Okay, here we go. Woohoo. Just one more carp left. You got this. Thank you, Mike. I will be the one feeding us tonight. Waiting on the fish. Waiting on the fish. There we go. My you little bastard. There we go. Bluegill. I think my lure landed on the other side of the creek. I think it's on the land. Catch me land carp. Oh, we tried. We tried. There we go. Alright, harp. Looks like we got 3 carp. Do you want to head back and throw these in the oven for dinner? Let's do it. I'm done fishing. And grab this. Maybe he'll bring it in. I hope he'll bring it in. I just threw that other shit on the floor on the ground. How messy. Fox. Nice couch. cornflakes. Legally distinct cornflakes. Hey, the fridge is open. What the fuck? You know, I don't remember that basement door being open. Or am I getting paranoid? Is he not coming in? Or do I have to put the other stuff away? Oh, he's got a guitar out here. It's just sitting out here. The shit's gonna go to so bad. Okay, I want to, I want to go cook, but I think Mike here might have bugged out. Okay, maybe this time. No? Do I have to bring it in? Are you going to cook the fishes to get that din din going? I'd like to, but it won't let me pick it up earlier. I hope I didn't bug my game. Damn it, it's doing so well too. This way. Yeah, I can't pick up my fish. I would love to get din din going. I need help, Mike. I have no arms to pick this up. Please, man. Maybe if I pick the other option when I catch a carp, it'll fix itself. Because I've caught 4 carp now. I've only had 3, but when I said okay, here we go. Okay. I picked Let's Do It and it broke, so maybe a little while? Sydney Harper likes fishing, who knew? Okay, let me know when you want to head back, it's getting pretty cold here. Okay, maybe now I can talk to him. I'm ready. I'm ready. Damn it. It's just not possible. One more then. I want to take my fish in, but well, let me. I didn't break it. I hate to start all over. It didn't look like there was a Let's do it. Nothing? Really? I must be doing something wrong, right? to the house. We shall try. We shall try. Can I put this away? Not really, I guess. Oops. The fridge is open once again. Why? Couldn't open the door. See, I would love to cook those fish. I'm sure I'm missing something. But the game won't let me pick up the bucket. Oh man. Okay, let's try one more time. Grab my stuff again. No, not that one. Jeez. I wonder. Oops. One more carp. This will be like the 6th fucking carp I've caught. Okay. We've got 3 carp. Do you want to head back until he's in the oven for dinner? Let's do it. And that's it. And I can't talk to him either. Oh no, my bait! Oops. I need that. I need that to reverse. What if I'm using the wrong bait? That's broken my game. One more fish. Okay. The other one, which is in a little while. Sydney Arbor likes to fish. He says let him know, and then when I go to talk to him, nothing. Maybe if I... Actually, I'll show this. I'm going to attach, fill that, and then fish. Maybe I need the free hand to pick up the bucket. Oops. It's too close to the ground. Here we are. I hope this works. I really hope this works. Chub? Yeah. Sit down again and fish. I want to progress. I really do. I hope I don't have to start over. That would suck. Alright, bait. There we go. Carp. Okay. Hands free. Let's do it. Still nothing? My game may be broken. That's really unfortunate, man. Stuck. This is true horror. Stuck fishing forever. For all eternity. Next to this creek. Come on. Forced to catch carp. Forever. Forever and ever. Damn it, Mike. This is all your fault. It took a hot second. Music is really peaceful. It's like being stuck here fishing forever. Forever. Forever and ever. I have the 3 carp. I can see them. I can count them 1, 2, 3. But I can't pick up that one. I'm too weak. I get the prompt to go back in, and then nothing happens. I hope it wasn't like a specific bait I'm supposed to take. Another bluegill. This is hell, isn't it? This is what hell is like. Just fish and fish and fish. And every single time you catch what you're looking for, it tells you it's not enough. It's not like he's caught anything either. Give me a carp. And then when I hit let's do it, nothing happens. I can see them. 1, 2, 3. 3 carp, Mike. Is it not enough? Is it never enough for you? How about another bait? How about a bait that isn't cheese? All there was common carp in there. Enough of this. Sweet corn. Catches it too. I picked the cheese because there's only 4 options. Where's the cheese? Or no, where's the corn? That's maggots. That's cheese. My sweet corn has disappeared. What is maggot scratch? Trout, perch, bluegill. Common ounce? Ounce? What? Anka? What is that? Daka? Daka. Daka, daka, daka. Alright, Mike, we're gonna pretend that I can't read. And I'm gonna use the wrong bait. Dude, perch tastes really good. It's not quite the fish for. Come on, man. Your carp is sitting in that bucket. Tell me that we're not catching the right thing. I caught all we gave Mike. Go. Oh, it forced me into the seat. It's like sit your ass down and fish. It's a fishing game. I want to cook the fish, but I can't. But it won't let me. Look at the size of this thing. It's gonna feed both of us. This guy. Trout do I mean carp do I have to catch me? We go get the other fucking the other bait. I'm pretty sure it wants me to pick up the bucket, but like I just can't. And this shit's open again. Maybe this shit. Maybe I gotta put it in here. Be oddly specific if it wants me to, but never hurts to try. Here's the cooler mic. This is good enough. Oh no, I can't put the fish in here. Why? Why? What more do you want? I want to put the fish in. Stupid. Stupid. I believe this is officially broken. Unless I'm just missing something. I used the right bait. This shit. The cheese. Common carp. I caught 3 fish. 3 carp. They're all in the bucket. So why is he not happy with me? Why isn't it good enough? Then we gotta use this rod. Trapped. Trapped forever. Alright. Once more. Are you watching, Mike? No way you watch me catch this fucking carp. The way you're looking in the eyes when I put it in the bucket. And I want you to tell me it's not enough. Let's do it. Wait, no, wait. I just don't understand. Is this game of controller support? Maybe I'm just fucking it up on my keyboard. My mouse is broken too. Instead of stuff. Go back here. Okay. I have plugged in my controller. I don't know if this game has any controller support for it. Does it? It has some controller support. Okay. So maybe if I sit down, cast, wait for it. A carp. Bluegill. I would like a cart, please. I have been fishing for 30 minutes. Okay. Nothing. What the fuck? That time I did it with my controller. I hate to say it, but this may be a bust. It's a shame. That's what I was hoping to see through to the end. Here's your card. Let's do it. And then nothing. And I try to pick up the bucket. And nothing. Here, you know what? I'm going to I'm going to look it up. I'll see if someone else is stuck here. Because I would love to continue. And I'd hate to just leave it there. Nothing I can see when it comes to getting stuck in the fishing section. Here's to Fathom, Woodbury Getaway. Careful not to splat. Anything fishing. It seems like there's no fix. It seems like it can soft lock in quite a few spots, but the only thing you can do is restart. Okay. The game is freaked indeed. Right here, my friend. I've tried all the rods. I've tried all the baits. Well, not all the baits. I even brought the shit out here. Cheese. So, if this doesn't work, then I will have to restart. I hope this game has checkpoints. I hate to start over. Just give me the carp. Just give me the carp. Hopefully it's a carp. Yes, there we go. Okay. Now if I say let's do it. Nada. Okay. Fuck this. What do I think of your carp, Mike? Alright then. Initiate the self-destruct sequence on this game. And that was the game. No. Let's load this back up. Frick your fish, yeah. Okay. Is it gonna start me at the beginning? Oh yes! Checkpoints, nice. Fishing. Here we go. Excellent. Excellent. Let me check my OBS, make sure it's picking up. It looks like it is. Okay, cool. Alright. Let's try this once more.
Well, you're in luck, because here at Larry's Auto Insurance Animal Rescue Dealership, we have it all.
Yeah. Whole spiel.
And then buy a car for that dog, along with the purchase of some high-end insurance for the car that you bought for that same dog.
3 carps. Want the cheese? That's 3 carp. Yeah. Let me grab the baits. And the cheese. Alright, once more. Once more into the fray. The greatest fight I'll ever know. Fishing with Mike. Okay, buckets. Next position, sit down. Bait. Cast. It's like a Gordon Ramsay recipe. Fish for carp. Done. Just need 3. No. Come on. I hope this is a carp. There we go. That's 1. There he is! I knew there's a guy on the bridge. I thought I saw him. That's the hitchhiker. He's got the big backpack. Creeping on me and Mike. I'm crossing the lines here. There we go. Bluegill. No. Okay. More carp, please. 2 carp. Number 2. Common carp. Number 2. Okay. Last one. Hopefully that fixed the game. Hopefully it doesn't bug out. No. Need your curve. It is calm music. However, I've been fishing for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. After a time, it becomes enough to drive a man mad. Lawn carp. Really? Yes. Bluegill. No. Damn. Show me the carp, Mike. Show me the carp. Bluegill, no. I want that crap. I would really love one more carp. Just one. Just one more carp. No more fishing. No more sitting out here. Oh, I didn't have any bait, I guess. Okay. Damn. One more carp. One more carp. Yes, here we go. Okay. Please let me grab the bucket. Oh, yes! Hey, there we go. Whew. Progress. Progress. No more fishing. Usually I like fishing in games. Not anymore. Yeah, put this away by throwing it on the floor. Now it's time to cook. This is the part of the movie where in the subtitles it says ominous music. Was that fridge open? Was that basement open? While I'm cleaning the fish, do you mind prepping the marinade? Sure. Just take a bowl and throw in ginger paste, cooking oil, black pepper, salt, Italian seasoning, paprika, and yogurt. Oh, actually, that sounds really nice. I hope I'm going to remember that. Ginger paste, cooking oil, pepper, salt. Italian seasoning, paprika, yogurt. Yogurt. Oh good, it tells me what the recipe is. Okay, let's see. Got ourselves some ginger paste, some Italian seasoning. Where's the paprika? Some salts, some black peppers. What else do we need? Olive oil. Where's the olive oil? Oh, olive oil. Ah, here we are. Olive oil. Alright. It is prepared. Do you mind throwing the fish and the marinade in the casserole while I chop these veggies? Gotcha. Gotcha. Here's the marinade. Oh, should add the fishes first. Good idea. Just throw that in. Just throw that there. Here we go. 1 carp. 2 carp. Marinade. There you go. Throw that around. Now could you add the veggies? Yes. They're ready. It needs to go for 30 minutes at 400. Alright. That looks like lemons. Nice. Lemons and tomatoes. Alright. Now we're cooking. Those carp are going to taste amazing. While we wait for it to cook, how about we play some board games? I saw some in the room next to the living room. Which one? Just grab whatever catches your eye. Can't wait to see what you pick. Saw some in the room next to the living room. Yes, in that corner closet I do trap me in. You creep. And since I already had a peek in here, I already know which one I'm gonna pick. Oh yes, we are going with the Ouija board. Oh, give me 1 second, like 20 seconds. Okay. 20 seconds, like I said. Hopefully, you're counting slow. Oh snap, is that a Ouija board? You're damn right it is. Molly once told me how she contacted her dead grandma through one of these boards. I can't stand her spiritual bullshit. Hey. Remember how the dude was acting weird about the basement? What if we tried doing this down there? That is a great idea. Alright, let's go. If you don't mind me asking, I would love to know your story. What made you want to become a streamer? You want the long story or the short story? The short story is, I felt like it. But there is a longer story to it as well. I'm scared already. Come on, Mike. Give me a second to move. Log, of course. Okay. Well, there was a time when I was younger. It is no bullshit. There was a time when I was younger. When I was, I wanted to, work in radio. Not necessarily as a host. But just working with radio. I went to school for it. Wow. Things fell out and life happened and I pursued other pursuits. Pursued other pursuits, yes, for work instead. We'll say this is kind of a compromise on that. Watch out for spiders down here. Spiders. Spiders. But seeing like stuff like VTubers, PNG tubers, stuff like that too is also really neat to me. My friend, my best buddy, and we both decided simultaneously that we would try to stream. We've always talked about streaming for a very long time too, but that's what it was. It was just talk. So you don't make this even spookier. What now? Let's turn off all these lights and see if this thing really works. Plus, this is also kind of a nice creative outlet as well. For me, anyway. So for the time being, I'm just doing this as a hobby. Whenever I have time, I like to stream. It's a fun experience. See if this thing really works, of course. Let me turn off these lights. The switch is here? Yeah, it is. Great. So it's not a terribly interesting story. Or at least it's not to me, when I'm the one living with it, right? Do you know how this works, Harper? Let's say no. Well, not necessarily working on a radio show. It is nice to put on a show of some sort. Even if it is just a small one, a little one. Here's how it works. First, we place our fingers lightly on the planchette. We have to ask questions, and the spirits, if there are any, will move the planchette to spell out the answers. So I'm a bit of a... I mean, even when I did other work, not to divulge too much information, but entertainment is always something I've been into since a very young age. And while it's not a radio show, like I said before, it is something. And it's how you say it's cathartic. It's cathartic, streaming. Again, even if it's just a small stream. Thank you for telling me your story. As long as you try hard and keep your dreams alive, you can do anything you set your mind to. You have to always believe in yourself. And I thank you for that. It is good advice. And advice I would also pass along to anyone else when it comes to their dreams and ambitions. I don't have any great grand ambitions here on Twitch. I do keep, let's say, I do know how to spot how you say, strokes of good luck. Some, what do you call it? Things to seize. How to seize the day. A friendly demon. I just like killing that all. Yeah, you and me both. From swordman to demon, may there be plenty of slaughtering. So, one more thing, Harp. Never take your fingers off the planchette until we say goodbye. Otherwise, we might tick off some spirits, she said. Gotcha. Mike, you're kind of creeping me out here. Alright, then you go first. Is this the spooky voice? Let's see. Are there any spirits who want to talk to us? I don't think that's how that works, Mike. G? J? What is he spelling? F? M? F? E? A? I think we're both supposed to hold it, Mike. Yes. Oh, there we go. No way. Are you moving it? That wasn't me. But considering you're just holding on to it yourself, Mike, I'm not very convinced. Okay, I got one too. Go ahead. How's the afterlife treating you, buddy? Be respectful. Oh, my turn to ask a question. Did you live in this house? What's your name? Are you friendly? Yes, let's ask its name. What's your name? Ooh. I suppose the game would... Oh. It didn't even spell anything, it just spelled a bunch of gibberish. Come on, buddy. Give us a sign. Let us know you're here. The fuck? Oh, shit! What the fuck, Mike? I'm not usually one to believe in ghosts or spirits. What is he scared of? The door? I'm crouching. Why was I crouching? What the fuck, man? He just left me. He ditched my ass down there, man. There's some freaky shit going on down there, Harp. That was weird. The weird part is that you ditched me. Yeah, you prick. What the hell, Harp? I figured you would move your ass too. Would have been nice if you had checked. Have you ever heard of fight or flight? Sydney, I'm sorry, okay? Whatever. Mike, what fucking ever. Leave me to get eaten by ghosts. Ghosts in the basement. Oh, the fish is done. Ooh, oh yeah. I think our show's about to come on. You gonna watch TV while we eat? Sure. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Ah, fish. I do love me some fish. Fish and TV. Oh, I gotta sit next to him? Alright. Whatever. Alright. Eat this fish. We had to catch that show on the TV when we ate. Okay. I have to turn on the TV? What the fuck?
Mayonnaise flows down the rivers.
That didn't scare me.
A mayonnaise water park.
What the hell am I watching?
So
what is
first, we are gonna prepare the asparagus. Season these with a lot of salt. Salt is good for the bones. After letting these simmer in the salt bath, we can start making the chocolate. Take a couple cocoa beans. Yes, the cocoa beans need to be blended into the sauce with a little bit of vinegar. Gotta keep that fancy flavor.
Quite enjoying your company. Well, thank you.
The next
I think
thing
Mike here
we
is as well.
prepare is the mayonnaise.
I think Mike here is enjoying
we
a little too
stir
much.
fry this in a pan
trying to
with
finish this
Irish tofu. I'm
While I
not
watch
gonna
this, I
lie.
don't know what the hell I'm watching.
This is gonna taste like shit.
It is.
But here you are. Anyway,
This is gonna taste
listening
like
to my
shit.
cooking instructions. This is the brine of the mayonnaise. We gotta inject it with a little anesthesia to make sure it doesn't revolt against
This is
us.
like a Newgrounds
It
cartoon.
gets
from way
very
back in the day.
angry once it knows we're
I
trying
was
to
done
cook
with it.
After
The fish
doing
heads.
that, we mix all the ingredients together
Harp, that
in
was
a
some
tray
damn fine
and
food.
place it inside.
Twice as good as we caught the fish ourselves.
Okay, and while
It was
that's
really
cooking,
good.
we can start
You make a
on
great
the
team, Harp.
appetizer.
Anyways,
Gasoline
I
soaked
need to check my
ramen.
emails real quick.
Now
With my
this
laptop
dish
upstairs.
is extremely hard to make.
Oh, we were taking a break
A
from
dish
work. Yeah.
only for
It's
experienced
not work. I'm
cooks.
just waiting on shipment
It
details from my new
requires a lot
DS.
of patience
DS.
and skill. What
Does
you
this
will
game take
need
place in?
is gasoline, and
I'll do dishes,
ramen. This dish really soothes the soul, almost like a cayenne cleanse. We begin by pouring the gasoline into this pot.
What?
Make sure not to use whole gasoline since it's really bad for you. Maybe use 2%
Don't use whole-
or half and half. Do not use diesel. So after letting
I
the
always say diesel
gasoline
tastes pretty
come to
good,
a
so
boil,
I don't know what
we
he's
can
on about.
put in our ramen. I'm using some stuff I found
Clean
in my
this shit out.
grandmama's
I'm
basement.
gonna throw out the
But you
the
can
bones?
use
No, I
whatever
guess not.
kind you like.
Oops.
This ramen will taste fantastic.
No, we're washing right in the
once
fucking.
the
All right.
gasoline fully soaks into the noodles. It's actually kind of scientific. Bill Nye Who. The gasoline molecules
Baked fish is
merge
always good.
with the noodle molecules, and they taste very good.
All right.
Now that this is cooking, we
Dish is
can check
clean.
on our
Dish is thrown across. Ooh.
If your oven
We still got one
catches
fish
on fire, make sure to put it out with the fire extinguisher.
I think there's someone under my bed
Damn, that's burnt.
right now. Can you come
I'm not eating
upstairs?
this. But not to worry.
What the fuck?
I know someone who will.
Yo, Grandma! Yo, I made you food! No, it's not poison. It's not poison. Look. Bye, Grandma.
I don't like this in
Stay
trouble.
room. I don't want you wandering around the house again. Get back in there!
Holy shit.
Okay, I'm glad she ate that up. I wouldn't want any food to go to waste. Anyways, I guess we can still
I know,
enjoy
Grandma.
our gasoline ramen, which is ready to serve.
Don't make sounds, walk slow. Oh, okay. I will walk slow. Oh, I don't think I could. Is he? Did I get tricked into coming in here? The fucking killer's gonna fucking. Killer? Under the bed? I guess. I did scream. There was actually, I stubbed my toe really hard. That's what that sound was. What the hell, Mike? I totally got you. That was fun, wasn't it? Not cool, man. Come on, it was just a joke. Fuck you, man. You wanna go for the next round? Next round. How about a game of hide and seek? We're playing hide and seek. What are you, fucking 8? Yeah, what a fucking play. Alright, fuck this guy. There we go. I decided to hide in the basement. Oh, okay. Good time where to go.
Have a car? Do you have insurance? Do you have a dog?
Ooh,
No? Well,
man.
you're in luck.
That was,
Because here at Larry's Auto Insurance
a little
Mutual
intense.
Rescue Dealership,
Not too intense, though. I'm no coward. Oh, what the fuck? I thought I could scare him back. If only. Got you. That wasn't even a challenge. I mean, good since I never find you in the city. You need to look harder. Dick. My turn to hide now. Wait, close your eyes, start counting. Oh, good. Press space to close eyes. And check behind the door. I didn't even think to check behind the door. 1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. 3 Mississippi. 4 Mississippi. 5 Mississippi. 6 Mississippi. 7 Mississippi. 8 Mississippi. 9 Mississippi. 10 Mississippi. Ready or not, here I come. All right. Where you at? Where are you at? Then open the door.
Good rapport in the office is essential for achieving good results.
Turn that off so I can hear. Okay, he's on the game room. Gamer room. Not in the bathroom. Okay, can't open that. Check upstairs. The flashlight. Looks like I'm fucking flying out to scare me again. That's why I can close the door. Fuck this guy. You in here? Found you. Sucker. Gamer rooms have more lights than body pillows. Good point. Hang on, Harp. I think I heard something upstairs. Yeah, I'm sure you fucking did. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. You can't get fooled again. No kidding, Sydney. I really heard something sliding up there. You didn't hear it? No, I didn't. I swear on my life I heard something. I see this attic access door in here. I tried to go in there earlier. Wouldn't let me. Oh no, I did go in there earlier. There was nothing up there though. You gotta check it out. You're taller than me. Why don't you go? I think my shoulders are too broad to fit through there, Sydney. When I should really look. Where are you hiding these broad shoulders, Mike? Seriously, Sydney. I don't think I would fit through. Use that step stool behind you and climb up. Behind me. You mean behind you? Alright, I'll go look, you fucking coward. Well, you can see that it tracks my voice in here, because I'm supposed to hide in here, I guess. There we go. Ta-da! What the fuck? Oh, it's the cat! Oh, okay. It's the fucking cat. I was like, what the fuck was that? Pet. Oh, I can pet the cat. Here we go. 10 out of 10 game. Petting the kitty. 10 out of 10 game. Now, fishing for 30 minutes, that was hell. Petting the cat for 30 minutes. This is heaven. But I'm not going to do that for 30 minutes. I'm going to go tell Mike down here that it's just a cat. That old dude's cat. He was looking for it earlier. Sydney, are you okay? What was up there? Looks like you aren't the only pussy in the house. Yeah, you tell him. Oh, I think I heard his feelings. What do you mean by that? It's just a cat. Oh, that's a relief. I was worried there for a minute. I think she was hungry. Oh, yeah? Maybe we can give her one of the carp after I come find you again. You're gonna fucking... Okay. Hide in a tool shed in the backyard. Okay. I can put this asshole in his place. He was so hurt. Alright, because I know that fuck's gonna count real fast. There we go. You remember, when you're the seeker, you always count fast once they're gone. It's not cheating. You did count to 10. Alright, come on. Where are you at? There's no, like... Oh, there he is. No, I'm creeping on this guy. What the fuck? No, I saw that. Someone's in the fucking house. No, I saw that shit. I've had mine just tell us there's someone in the house. There you are. Damn, Harp, it took me a while to figure out how you left the house. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. My turn. Close those pretty eyes now. What? Okay. Don't make comments like that, you fucking weirdo. I'm getting tired. Look, I'll hide in the house, or head it back in any way. You find me, we'll go to bed. Fine, fucking... There's someone in there. I saw them walk across. Twitch, you want some loving? Yeah, I think he wants some kind of loving. 1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. 3 Mississippi. 4 Mississippi. 5 Mississippi. 6 Mississippi. 7, 8 Mississippis. Mississippi. 9 Mississippi. 10 Mississippi. Ready or not, here I come. I got a nice fist he can make love to. And I don't mean it. I mean with his face. Sorry, that came out really wrong. Alright, Mike, where are you? You in the bathroom? No. What the fuck is that? Someone's like hammering something. No one outside. The gamer room. Nope. Yeah, someone definitely walked across the door, like from the basement to the stairs. Speaking of basement. Are you down? It's locked. Still locked. What the fuck? Are you seeing this? That's a visual bug, right? Okay, it's just a visual bug. Okay. As he took my old hiding space. No, I guess he didn't. The Ouija boards. He's still here. Yoo-hoo. Now, he said he would hide in the house, but... What the fuck? Home sweet home. I'm assuming this leads to the secret room downstairs. And there's steps going towards it. That's not ominous. Not ominous at all. No demons so far. Looks like it's just creeps. Creepy men. Some creepy dudes who don't know how to talk to women. Or anybody for that matter. Not in here. What are the odds he's hiding in the same fucking closet? Maybe not. What are the odds he's hiding with the cat? None. Hello, kitty. He's not back there either. He called him a pussy. Listen, I just call it like I see it. Or rather, Sydney calls it like she sees it. Oh, dude. I have a gift for this, this kitty. Yes, yes. Damn, it's 4:38 in the morning? Or is that in the afternoon? Probably in the morning, right? There you go, kitty. Eat that. Oh, he actually eats. Oh, I got a achievement. Purr. Beat the cat. Yes. Now the animal has its hunger sated for the night. You beat the game, GG's, yeah. And that's it. Just had to feed the cat. He's not here. What about the deck? Be on the deck? No? Is he in the bathroom? Okay, that didn't scare me. Suddenly, fucking the scream they put in. What's going on? What happened? Well, hey there. Wait, you're back in here again. Rick, why are you back? I'm fixing the faucet. You got a problem with that? You should have told us. Miss, this is my house. I don't need to check in with you every time I fix something. I've never seen anyone fix a faucet with a hammer before. Yeah, that's a very difficult way to fix a faucet, isn't it? You ever fixed many faucets yourself, young man? Didn't think so. But imagine you don't know what tools you need. Isn't this late for you? No trouble for me at all, miss. I'm right around the block. I told you I'll get the sink fixed there real soon. Do you think maybe you could fix it tomorrow? You asking me to leave, miss? No, Rick, she's being polite. We rented this house and would like to have it to ourselves. We don't really want to have to call law enforcement. Law enforcement? What is wrong with this? He's trying to escalate this shit, man. He wants some Taco Bell for sure. Oh, shit. Ain't no cops in Woodbury, son. You think they're gonna arrest the homeowner for fixing the faucet? We're just doing some work. If you can't handle that, it's your problem, not mine. You know what? If you folks don't like me fixing the faucet, I'll leave you to it. Oh. Ah, look what you did, Rick. You went and made him mad. But he's got a hammer. Beat this old man down. Yeah. Let me lock the door. No. Take the hammer from him. I don't think I like the special sauce, Rick. After locking the door, we debated what to do. We agreed that there was something off about Rick from the start. It seemed like he enjoyed making excuses to come over unannounced. In the end, we decided Rick was weird but probably harmless. We attributed this behavior to an extreme lack of social awareness. Poor old man. I bet he's lonely. Look, we already drove all the way out here. Let's just enjoy ourselves, Mike said. But by this time, I was feeling really tired, especially after all that fishing. I decided to get some rest. Oh, I teleported into the 11:39 p.m. The clock says 4:38. Oh. Harp, are you still awake? Hard to sleep when someone's knocking on the door, Mike. Mind if I come in? I'd like to talk about something. Oh, jeez, here we go. Sure. We may as well get this over with. What's he doing? The storm is starting to get really bad. We can hardly see the truck in the driveway. Oh, you know, I completely forgot about Nora. She's supposed to be here, right? I hope Nora is okay. She'll be just fine, Sydney. Don't worry. I'm here to keep you safe. What? Okay. Hey, it's no problem at all. Guys are supposed to watch over people they care about, right? What are you talking about? What a day, huh? This wasn't exactly how I thought our getaway was going to go, Sydney. It's been a strange day. Can you believe that guy? He just keeps wandering around the house like he owns the place. He does own the place. You know exactly what I meant, Sydney. He shouldn't just barge into the place whenever he wants. We rented the damn house. Okay, he's got a point there. He should, like, text or some shit. I mean, the guy is probably harmless, but I'm frustrated. You've also been a little difficult to deal with. Yeah. Screw you, Mike. You're right, Sydney. I'm really sorry. It's okay. It's okay, buddy. Well, what do you... Why do you come sit by me, Sydney? I don't want to. I really don't want to. No, I don't. I'll go sit upstairs with the cat. You hear me? I'm going to go sit with the cat. This is horror. This is horror right here. I'm reminded of that movie Barbarian. Harp, you know. I've missed this. Oh no. Oh no. Us. Just talking. It's been too long. Long, awkward pause as we just stare at each other. You know. You don't have to sleep alone tonight if you don't want to. Man, he's coming on strong, isn't he? Too strong. Would you be doing this if Nora was here? Ooh. Struck a nerve, did I? You act like you don't remember our trip to Oregon. I remember it being pretty awkward. It didn't start out awkward, though. Mike, we had a lot to drink. Things happened. They sure did. I'm hoping maybe they can happen again. Oh. Nora's texting. You just let me worry about the details, Sydney. Mike, I don't think this is a good time. This guy's... not doing it right at all. This guy's a little he's a little fucking pathetic, I'm being honest.
Guys, I think I'm about 70 miles away from Woodbury, and my stinking tire just blew out. My brother said he checked them a few days ago, but, well, you know how reliable Joseph is? Anyway, it's snowing, and I'm on the side of the road on Highway 11.
I'm hitting the balls for sure. Oh yeah, definitely.
There's a sign by the
I'd have
side
been
of
out
the
of that
road.
place.
Hard to see. I think it says Kent Pond. I'm freaking the hell out. The snow is like half a foot deep, and I can't get the lug nuts off the tire. I hate to ask, but can you two come get me? Or help change the tire? I just want to get to the house, drink some wine on the couch, and cry.
Oh, fuck yeah.
There's enough gas in the car to keep the heater running, but I'm going to lose my mind if I have to sleep in my car tonight. Please come get me.
No, you're not sleeping in your fucking car. You're gonna freeze to death out there. Yeah, we're gonna come get you, Nora. What a timing, huh? But I guess we can't leave Nora stranded. You guess, Mike? Let me get dressed. Let me do downstairs. No, Sydney, you stay here and get some sleep. What the fuck? There's no sense in both of us freezing our asses off. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. You're in pajamas and I'm still dressed. You just settle in and I'll go help Nora. That's really nice, Mike. I always like doing nice things for you, Sydney. For some reason, like when this guy talks and he says Sydney, I just think of the Scream. The Ghostface Killer. Hello, Sydney. Please be careful. What's your favorite scary movie? We'll finish talking about this later, okay? Get some good rest and stay warm. You really feel like we have to. This sucks. Am I in this fucking house by myself? With Rick fucking sneaking in through the basement? Why don't you get some rest when you're gone? Are you sure it's safe to drive in this weather? Don't worry, I've driven in worse. Besides, Nora's probably freaking out more than you right now. Yeah, that's true. Make sure you take good care of yourself, alright? Lock all the doors. I'm not gonna argue with that. Before I go, how about a hug? I mean, just in case you're asleep when I get back. I kinda need one right now. Are you fucking kidding me? Our friend's gonna fucking die out there and he's looking for a fucking hug? Not now, Mike. Sweet dreams. Get some sleep, Sydney. Drive safe, Mike. There he goes. Alright, let's lock everything up. Can I lock? Is there a way to lock? I was keen on getting some sleep until Mike and Nora arrived. It's, everything's off. I don't know if there is an actual way to lock the doors. But, it seems everything's unlocked, so... I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with it, aren't I? These damn Airbnbs. Alright. I'm asleep. I told myself things would get better if I could just get some rest. Nora always knew how to cheer me up, and I needed it more by the minute. With her arriving soon, I decided to rest in the meantime. 12:39 a.m. The fuck was that? Doorbell? Oh, it is a doorbell. What the fuck? Okay, alright. Damn. Can't see the time on my phone. Oh shit. The fuck? Oh. The realization that someone was outside this late at night was horrific. It's the fucking hitchhiker. Do you have any idea what time it is? Look, friend, I know it ain't ideal banging on your door in the middle of the night, but I'm in a bad spot here. I was counting on a ride from some friends, but they're running behind and won't be here for about 2 more hours. Now you can sit on the porch while you wait. Thanks, but I was hoping you'd let me wait inside until my friends get here to get me. You're not coming in. End of story. Are you fucking kidding me? Holy shit, this guy is mad. He's mad. You're gonna let me freeze to death out here? I didn't make you go hiking in a snowstorm. I should have known you'd be as big a bitch here as you were at the pizza joint. What? You think I didn't see you and your little boyfriend fishing in the creek earlier? I figured maybe you'd give me a chance this time. It looks like you're still... unkind. I knew he was fucking creeping on. I saw him on the fucking bridge earlier when I was fishing. Tell him to bring you some food and come on. Oh, no, there's an idea. Go back to Moe's Pizza and bring us some fucking pies, man. Then I'll let you in. Get out or I'll call the cops. Ain't no cops around here. Speaking of, I don't see your fella's truck out here either. I'm dialing 911 now. 911. Suit yourself. You actually fucking leaving? No, he's not fucking leaving. Oh, there he goes. Didn't feel safe opening the door, yeah. Yeah, you can just stand out there for all I care. Let me tell you something. You get what's coming to you for leaving me out here. Karma's a bitch, my friend. Ominous. Ooh, I'm so scared. I'm shaking in my fucking pajamas. The man at the door seemed irrelevant compared to how tired I was. Still out there? What the fuck? He's trying to get in the fucking basement. How does he know there's a way in? Trying to come into the storm door. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I had to get some sleep. Yeah, but this guy fucking trying to kick in the storm door? Come on. Come on, Sydney. Just call 911. He's literally trying to break and enter my fucking storm door. Just sleep and let him do whatever. Maybe he'll freeze to death before he gets in. Boy. Oh shit, he's in! Oh. He's not in? He's in. He's definitely in. Why did he scream? Oh, there's a snowball on my fucking window. What the fuck? I had no choice but to call for help. Text Rick, yes. Rick, I'm sorry to bother you again, but can you come back over? There's someone we met driving down here. He's banging on the door and started threatening me. I'm pretty scared and I think I hear him moving around outside the house. Could you please come look since you live so close? I don't even know what's going on anymore. Mr. Hitchhiker. A reply from Rick. Get a weapon. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, you're right. Here, I got this. I can blind him. Oh, someone's at the door. Who is it? Oh, it's the old man. Despite how strange Rick had been, seeing him was a relief. I don't know if relief is the word I'm looking for, but that hitchhiker is trying to break in, so. What the hell's going on here? Did you see anything? Oh, thank God you're here. Let me explain the situation. Yeah, I came as quickly as I could. I wouldn't worry about him anymore. Oh. Oh no. Was that the hitchhiker that screamed? Did Rick, you know, do him in? Yeah. No worries, Rick. Okay, let's, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing, Rick? Rick, what are you doing with a hammer? Rick? Rick? Oh. By the way, where's your friend? The guy who was with you earlier. Mike, he went up to pick up our other friend. So you're all alone here right now, huh? Yeah, but my friends will be back soon. Oh, and Doom Guide, thanks for popping in, man. What are you doing? What is he doing? Rick? I don't like the special sauce, Rick. What are you doing? Oh, fireplace. Yeah, it's nice and warm. Storms like this bring out all kinds of folks. Not all of them know when to stay away. Yeah. How about I turn the light on? I can't. Rick Wilson. Just texting me? Come back over? What do you mean? I live in Burlington. No, I haven't been to the rental in weeks. Rick? 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 Who the hell are you? Didn't feel safe opening the door. What do you mean? It's not Rick. Everything okay, miss? Yeah. Awful late for texting, isn't it? Who are you talking to? It's my friends. They're almost here. Miss Lighter. Is that so? Yeah, thanks for coming by, though. I'll be fine now. Oh, he's just gonna stare at me, isn't he? Beat him down. I want to hit him on the head with this fucking flashlight. You hit back if you want. You sure about that? Yeah, I just overreacted. Maybe I should stick around. Make sure everything's really okay. You need to leave right now, Rick. What did you just say? Confront? Oh yeah, we're gonna confront this dude. This is my fucking house. I will leave when I want to. Actually, he said, "The is my fucking house." You need to leave right now. I don't think so. If anyone's leaving this house, it will be one of us. Rick. What the fuck are you doing? You're breaking the handle. Oh goodness! No! Rick! Rick! Oh no! Wait a minute. Man, he hauled ass. Like, he was like... I like how the chapter is called Rick. He just fucking... He didn't... Okay, I can't hesitate. I need to, like, run as soon as he goes through that door. Okay, let's get Rick in. How did I tell the story if I died, though? Because I didn't die. Okay. Okay, Rick dialogue. Rick dot dialogue. Rick. Rick jump scare. You let an old ass man beat you down. Listen, he's got a hammer. And he moves like a fucking Olympic athlete. Motherfucker was sprinting. He was at the door. I was already at this door. And he got to me. He got down the stairs before I could even get to the hiding spot. Okay. Let's get the Rick text. Okay. Yep. Scary Rick. I live in Burlington. Fucking Burlington. I've been to the rental weeks. Rick. Everything okay? Yeah. Who are you? What did you say? That is fucking house. Okay, what do you want? I want what's mine. This house. And you... Oh no! You're trespassing. Okay, he does that. Me run now. Me leave. Me not watch what he's doing. This is why we play hide and seek earlier. Shh. Gotta be quiet. Shh. Sneeze. No, Nora! No!
Hey.
No, don't call me Nora! No, 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 Rick, jump scares! Rick! 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 No, Rick! Look, he went through the wall. Come on. No, 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 no. This guy's cheating. Okay, maybe I sneak up the stairs. Hiding in base. Oh, yes, nice. Okay, okay. Gotta be quiet.
Hey.
Okay. Oh, shit. Okay. No, don't fucking call. Shit. Rick. Someone's fucking here and I don't know who it is. I see up front. Oh, he's right there. He's right there and the fucking cat is meowing. Oh, Rick's cat. Yes. Oh, you're right. Just got done talking to the other guest on the phone. I've called 911. Yes. Don't get me fucking killed. The cat. Oh, he's gone. Oh, they're back. Holy shit, he knocked this door down? What the fuck? Oh shit. Yes. You're back. God damn. I told him everything that happened after Mike had left. Rick had called the cops. Good. The storm had quieted down by the time they arrived. And of course, the man was nowhere to be seen. On our drive back, the whole night played over and over in my head. We think that the man we saw secretly lived in that cabin when it wasn't being used, and planned on robbing us during our stay. The cops seem to think there was more intent behind this man's actions aside from just robbing us. Yeah, he talked about wanting Sydney. You know what that means. The house and Sydney. Rick asked me what the man looked like, and after that he didn't ask any more questions. You'd think he knew more than he was letting on. But in the end, he gave us a full refund. Oh, well that's nice. At least we got our fucking $100 back. And that's game. Oh shit! Okay, it was queso. Bloody Peach was not. Okay. DC Smith. I don't recognize the other names. I just recognize Lily Peach and queso. The cops. Oh, and the fucking storm door's open. I actually should have looked and saw if it was open. Because I think that hitchhiker's trying to break in. It's $300, sorry, tried to murder you, yeah. Got my Airbnb money back. I think that's a nice 5 stars for Rick. The real Rick, not murder Rick, killer Rick. It's quite enjoyable for sure. Yes, it was. It was very enjoyable. Other than the fishing thing, that was actually pretty solid. I enjoyed that. Oh man. That was pretty scary. I mean, no, it wasn't scary at all. I didn't get scared. I don't get scared. Home Alone, Norwood Hitchhike, Carson House, Iron Bark Lookout. This 4 now. Okay. I may look into picking up some of those. And I've been looking at the Chilla horror games as well too. I mentioned earlier. I do really like horror games. To be real, Rick and Mike and Man. Yeah. Yeah, Mike came through in the end. He was kind of a fucking creep for like a good 90% of the game. But no, he came through in the end. Which is nice. Japanese horror is killing it sure is, buddy. I also have that I might save it for like October or something, but I got that second the Bridge Curse. That Singapore horror game I would love to go through. That's kind of a long one though. If it's like the first one's gonna be a little longer, so I might have to break that up into a few separate streams. But this Fears the Fathom stuff is nice for like single streams. One game per stream. I'll have to look at the others, see if I can get them like a bundle on a nice discount. Oh, that just opens up the... Okay, I see. Approximately 2 hours. I'm assuming the others are of similar length. Which should be really, really nice. Really nice to go through. Here's a Fathom and Chilla. I might have a Chilla game. I have to look though. I think I picked up one on sale. But that was very nice. I'll have to join their Discord and farm their memes, of course. Farm their memes and keep up to date on if they're going to release any more. Because that was really cool. But that was... that was good. One thing I really like about this in particular, first off, I don't really like fucking horror games that are like slender. You know, you gotta like collect shit. You gotta collect 8 notes or whatever the fucking hide from the monster. I'm not really a fan of those. Those are kind of tedious. Tedious is the word I'm looking for. I don't like tedious horror games. Same with The security cam ones are also can be kind of tedious once you figure it out. Because if you fuck up, then you gotta start over. I think it's the starting over that gets me. I remember playing the Bridge Curse one, and at the end, spoilers for an old game, you're in like an abandoned school, and you have to hide from the monster. That's roaming the hallways in very specific orders. You know, at first it's scary, but if you fuck up towards the end, you have to start the entire chase sequence over again. Or not chase sequence, but hiding sequence over again. That shit gets tedious after a while. Because it's like, oh, I know what to do. But like, I'm one pixel out of in its line of sight, and then it kills me, and it's like, oh, now you gotta go back and do the last 10 minutes. It's like, oh, come on, man. But this is not tedious at all. Other than the fishing, but that was the game just soft locking on me, so. No Five Nights at Freddy's streamed them? No, I don't think so. Like I said, it gets tedious. I can't believe this. It's so over. So over. But I'll look in some more of these Fearless Fathom games now. The Chilla games. For more scary stuff. More scary stuff to stream another time. But I quite enjoyed that. And hopefully you all did as well. Enjoy watching me get a little scared. Not too scared. It's like a 3 out of 10 on the scary scale. Good thing I wore my brown pants. Oh, they do come in a bundle. Sorry, you can't see it, but I'm actually looking at its bundle on Steam. %10 off. I think I've seen it go lower though. Thanks for streaming. Oh, you're very welcome, Mr. Jack, the demon. It's very kind of you to pop in, and of course, it's also very kind of you to follow as well. I appreciate it. I really do. It makes my night being someone follow. So that was nice. It was very nice. It was actually quite a few first Fathom. There's even a free one. Interesting. But that is where I'm going to call it. So I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Thank you so much. A special shout out to the Hazel Rose for suggesting this game to me. Good pick. Yeah, look out for more. And for now, I'll call it a night. Call it a nice night. Don't let any ricks into your house, please. No creepy old men with hammers into your house. No hitchhikers either. Be safe out there. Be safe in your own home. You do not need wild ricks breaking and entering into your house through the basement. But yes, that will be the end of it. So, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Farewell, wanderers, and take care.